Alright, you beautiful souls, welcome back. This will be part 3 to the 500 subscriber special. And quickly, I want to say, yes, I am going to be doing the Kitsune Deku, and I'm also going to be continuing a few others. It's just with the with how well this series was received, I wanted to get a few of the episodes out before I take a break on this one. So after this, I'll work on videos for a few other what ifs, and then after I'm done with those, I will get another part for this one recorded just to sit and wait. And after I get the other videos that I want to get out done, I will release that one as well. So where we last left off, Katsuki had basically come over to Izuku's house, finding out that Izuku is the Midoriya of Midoriya Medical Tech LLC, and he agreed to with Izuku's offer of helping him train and everything. And he's surprised that he has not only a beautiful girlfriend, but I'm gonna say this is the next day, and Katsuki shows up for training at his house, and Izuku kind of walks out, and he has a duffel bag with him, and Melissa is right behind him, and Katsuki's like, what's going on? I thought we were gonna train. And Izuku's like, oh yeah, we are gonna train, but I kind of built a new facility that's more apt for us. Looking at Melissa, Katsuki's like, wait, don't tell me. And Izuku's like, yeah, she could probably beat your ass right now, Katsuki. With no issues. She probably wouldn't even have to she could probably do it with both her hands tied behind her back. And Melissa's like, Izu, come on, don't scare the poor kid. And Kasha's like, wait, kid, how old are you? And Izuku kind of smacks him. He's like, you don't ask women their age. And Melissa's like, it's fine, Izu. Well, let's see, Izu, you guys are 15 now, right? And well, I'm 17. And this kind of shocks Katsuki. He's like, so you're super rich, you have powerful abilities, you created something that can heal people, you're engaged to a beautiful older woman. Holy crap, Deku. Okay, so if we're not going to train at your place, where are we heading? Izuku's like, it's a new facility that I had, and we're basically going to be using that for the next 10 months. Because, you plan on going to UA, right? Well, I kind of have some things that I have to do, next week, and I was going to ask around, and, well, he turns to Melissa, and he's like, I'm sorry to ask, Melissa, but could you help my friend out with his quirk, and, give him some pointers on hand-to-hand combat? And Melissa's like, yeah, sure. So what do you have to take care of? And Izuku's like, well, you remember several months ago where we got a offer to help out with the school's medical equipment? Well, that I later found out that was actually UA, and I was actually kind of surprised. And she's like, okay, well, if you see him there, don't say anything to him. I want to be the one to tell him. Izuku's like, okay, well then, shall we go? And Katsu's like, aren't you guys going to get a car? Where's your vehicle? And Izuku kind of laughs, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. we probably shouldn't use our abilities to get there. With you tagging along, it would be kind of hard to be inconspicuous. And Katsuki's like, hold up, what? And at this, Izuku basically pulls like a device out of his hand and pushes a button. And a car, kind of like an underground garage, basically pops up, and a car pulls out. And Katsuki's freaking out because he's like, how's that thing moving without a driver? And Izuku's like, oh yeah, that's right. I didn't tell you about that. Well, I've pretty much created like an AI butler. Like my house is kind of a smart home. In any case, like it's completely street legal and everything, and if worst comes to worst, Melissa can always just drive us there. And Melissa kind of smiles at this, and she's like, what? And so they go, and they do spend like the next couple of days training. And Katsuki's like amazed at like Melissa's strength, and he kind of asks a few questions, and Izuku kind of blows it off that they were involved in a lab accident, and that's why they have these abilities. And Katsuki kind of believes this because he knows Izuku's like a huge like nerd, basically. And he doesn't really think too much about it. So now we cut to like the next week, and Izuku shows up for the installation. And he's there, and he's using his super strength to carry stuff around, and Nezu's like, huh, I didn't think they would have such a young person working for them. And Izuku's like, oh no, I don't work for the company. They work for me. And Nezu's a little shocked about this. He's like, wait, you're Izuku Midoriya? I thought it was just a rumor that you were a kid. And Izuku's like, oh, I get that a lot. People always think I'm always older because of like how successful my company's been. But it's because of my quirk. And Nezu's like, so what's your quirk? And Izuku's like, superintelligence. I've had it since birth, but the only downside to my quirk is I have to learn things. I can't just figure things out like instantly. I kind of have to learn information and apply it to be able to like increase my quirk's ability. And Nezu's like, that's pretty interesting. And Izuku's like, yeah, and I've heard quite a bit about you, Mr. Nezu. You have an intelligence quirk as well, right? And Nezu's like, very interesting. So how did you learn this? And well, Izuku's like, well, I tend to like doing research with people that I'm going to do business with. And a few moments, like a good hour passes by, and Izuku's like finished setting up the new medical equipment in the nurse's office and everything. And he's explaining, like when he meets Recovery Girl, he kind of freaks out a little bit because she's one of his favorite heroes, like next to All Might. She's like his next favorite hero because she has a healing quirk and just the whole doctor thing. And Nezu's just sitting there, and Izuku's basically going off on like all these like medical terms and stuff. And Recovery Girl's like a little bit surprised about this, but then she's like, oh well. And so he finishes explaining like how the equipment works to Recovery Girl and what she needs to do. And then Nezu's like, young Midoriya, I was trying to get in touch with you. I had an offer for you. And at that moment, All Might walks up, and he's like, oh, young Midoriya, you're here. I thought you would have someone else, but this is perfect timing. And Nezu's like, All Might, you know this young man? And All Might's like, yes, this was the young gentleman I was speaking about, that he keeps out of the public eye, but he's planning on coming to UA. And Izuku's like, Nezu's like, huh, that's kind of strange because I've actually been trying to get in touch with this person. It's kind of funny that it's the one and the same. Well, young Midoriya, I've been trying to get in touch with you to see if you would want to be a doctor here at UA. You see, Recovery Girl, she's getting up in years, and Recovery Girl kind of says, I'm still young and full of energy. And then she goes back to like looking over like the new medical equipment with like eyes, with like gaga eyes. Like this is her kind of like thing. And it says, well, that's besides the point. With quirks getting stronger and how our test is going to be, we would like to have a second doctor on call, just in case something serious happens. And then Izuku looks at All Might, and he's like, "Oh, Uncle All Might, like I kind of," and then he's like, "Oh crap," and All Might's like, "Wait, Uncle," and so does Nezu, and he's like, "Crap, Mel's gonna kill me. She wanted to tell you." And Izuku then explains that he did get engaged to Melissa and everything, and All Might's kind of shocked at this. And Nezu's like, wait, Mel, like, Melissa Shield? Isn't that the young lady you were speaking about, All Might? And Nezu's like, this is very, well, and Nezu's like, I've been meaning to speak to you about that. She won't be able to join UA because she'll be in her third year, like next year. And All Might's like, well, she would be a fine hero and she really wants to come to UA. And Izuku's like, oh my, can I take it over from here? I have an idea about that. And Izuku like turns to Nezu and he's like, well, you wanted me to be staff here at UA, right? And I'm not going to be in a teacher position, correct? And Nezu's like, yes, correct. So there wouldn't be any conflict of interest with Mel like being a student here. I would just be I'd be a staff like one of the janitors, correct? And Nezu's like, correct. But that's not the issue, young man. And Izuku's like, I get it. And you're worried about her capabilities, and her just being able to transfer in would set a precedent, correct? How about this? If you can change the school's bylaws to where students can transfer in, but they would have to go through the same process as any other student that gets accepted. Wouldn't that work out? And Nezu's like, young Midoriya, you are very intelligent. That would actually work out, and it would be good. Because I have been thinking about something like this, because I have seen some pretty good kids that don't really get into schools because they didn't really have a drive of it back when they're like 15. But now that they're older and they want to be heroes, their options are kind of limited. And so Izuku's like, okay, so you want me to be a staff. I'll accept the offer under 2 conditions. And Izuku's like, you allow me to do the hero track. You allow Melissa like to transfer in, but under the condition that she has to do the entrance exam like any other student. And condition number 2, you let me do the hero track, and with the same condition as with Melissa, I have to do the entrance exam like any other person. And Nezu like thinks for a couple of things. He's like, give me a few minutes. I believe you and All Might have some things you need to talk about. And I do have to go over some things with Recovery Girl, because she will technically be your boss. And Mizuka's fine. Yeah, I do. And So All Might and Izuku step out of the nurse's office, and he has like almost like, so what does David think about this? And Izuku's like, well, I did go ask him first before I proposed, and I she's really not gonna like that you found out because of me. Could you do me a favor and please just kind of act surprised? Even though she'll probably figure it out, like, instantly. And All Might's like, well, I don't think that's a good idea, young man. That's just something you and her are gonna have to work out, but you guys have known each other for almost 9 years. For almost 9 years now, so guys are going on like 9 years of like knowing each other. And I didn't know you guys started dating from what my conversations with David. So have you guys set a wedding date? And Izuku's like, well, we kind of want to wait until after she graduates, so that, because when she graduates, I'm fairly certain I'm going to graduate soon after. But after we're out of high school, Izuku says with quotation marks, and All Might kind of chuckles at this. He's like, so you want to be a high school student again? And Izuku's like, well, I never really got the chance to be with people my own age, and it's not like I'm going to be doing like the academic stuff with the school. I'm pretty sure Principal Nezu will figure a weird schedule out for me, and it will probably involve like the hero course curriculum, but like the regular math and science stuff, I will probably just not have to do that. But in any case, we have planned to do it after we graduate. But Izu kind of looks around and he's like, so, well, I heard from Melissa that he didn't accept it. And All Might kind of oh, young Midoriya, you don't have to worry about those two. They know about my secret. And Izuku's like, oh yeah, duh, that's stupid. I just thought Recovery Girl was may have been your doctor. I didn't know they knew about that. And All Might's like, yeah, they've known for quite a while. But in any case, so Melissa told you, and Izuku's like, yeah, but so who ended up getting it? And he's like, it's kind of funny. The guy I had in mind said that his quirk, if it got enhanced, he trained a lot, and he just didn't want to lose any ground. But he figured his friend would be a better suit for it. And he was like, do you think you could set up a meet and greet? I could potentially help him out. I do have a brand new training facility that I built for me and Melissa, and All Might's interest gets piqued. He's like, so it's a training facility for you two. And Izuku's like, well, I've kind of been having this idea to set up a program for court training, and basically my friend Bakugo is, and All Might's like, oh, so you got back in contact with your childhood friend. Because over the past couple of years, he has spoken with All Might and everything, because All Might's a little concerned about how strong Izuku is, and even more so after seeing what he did on the news. And he's like, I would have to approach them and ask them. But in any case, young Midori, there's also another thing I've been meaning to speak with you for a couple weeks now. I saw what happened during the sludge villain. And he's like, oh crap, I'm sorry I broke the promise. And All Might's like, oh no, you didn't technically break the promise, because as far as the news outlet, they're trying to scramble to figure out who you are. but you didn't show off, and you didn't show off your, and All Might kind of quiet sound, you didn't show off your speed. And Izuku's like, yeah, I kind of figured that would be a bad thing. Like, I'm already breaking a promise that I wouldn't do any vigilante work, says Deku in a quiet voice. And All Might's like, well, that wasn't necessarily vigilante work, young man. That was just you helping a friend out, correct? And Izuku's like, yeah, when I realized who it was, I just couldn't watch my childhood friend die, right? And I was like, oh man, if you didn't have those other abilities, you would have been a perfect match, is what All Might is thinking. And so Nezu comes out after several minutes, and he's like, oh, All Might, so the young boy knows about your quirk. And All Might's like, yeah, matter of fact, he's actually the one that took care of this, like, kind of grabbing his side. And Nezu's like, I had my suspicions about that, but every single time I asked him, as Nezu looks at All Might, he turns to Midoriya, he kind of brushed it off. And now I can understand. Now, what you offered, that sounds appropriate. That's actually kind of perfect. So, do you mind if I use this as a basis for other students? And Izuku's like, no. Like, matter of fact, if you think that's would be a perfect system to implement, then go ahead. But in any case, I do have some things that I have to prepare for, and I do have to get ready for the entrance exam, right? As Izuku smiles and kind of like walks off. And so Nezu asks All Might, so, that young man, you initially were planning on giving the court to him. And All Might's like, yeah, it just, he kind of said the same thing Mirio did. That it wasn't a good fit for him. And so, and now, God, I don't know Sun Eater's real name, and I will learn it, but for now, we'll call it Sun Eater. So yes, one of the big three does get it, and it's Sun Eater. So a couple of months will pass before All Might will introduce Izuku, because they still do have their classes and stuff, and he's going to wait for the summer. And Izuku really isn't going to start working at UA until like the summer courses. So a few of the students will like have interactions with him, but we're going to cut back to Melissa and Katsuki. And Katsuki's basically asking her all these questions. Like, he basically asks, so how did you and Deku meet? Like, doesn't seem like you two would really meet. Like, doesn't seem like you, it seems like you have a very powerful quirk. And Melissa's like, oh, she like looks around, and Katsuki's like, you do realize we're the only people here, right? And Melissa's like, well, you can't be too careful. I'm technically quirkless, but I have since registered my super strength and a few other abilities, but it's basically because of, and she like kind of rolls her eyes, a lab accident. Me and Izuku, we were working on something, and an accident happened, and I basically gained some of these abilities, and we were trying to keep it like on the down low, so please don't tell him you found out from me. And Katsu's like, oh, trust me, let's just chalk it up for like NDSA clause, and with Izuku being as rich as is, I don't want to get sued. And Melissa's like laughing and everything, and at this point, because Katsuki has like because Melissa has asked Katsuki, so what was Izuku like as a little kid? Like, he seemed very mature when I met him, and from what way you've been acting with him, it seems like you guys were pretty much equals. And Katsuki's like, yeah, well, when we were a lot younger, when we were like real young, like, he talked weird, but he acted like a normal kid. So we cut back to the present, and Izuku's like, what's so funny, Mel? And she's like, oh, Izu, you're back. So how did it go? And Izuku's like, oh, well, the installation went well, and I have some good news and some bad news. Maybe it's bad news. I'm not too sure. It still all depends on you. And she looks at Izuku, and Katsuki gets a little freaked out about what's about to happen. She basically runs up to him and decks him like in the shoulder, and she's like, "You told him, didn't you? I told you I wanted to be the one to tell him." And Izuku's like, "I'm sorry, I accidentally called him Uncle All Might, and well, one thing led to another, but you can join UA." And she's like, what? Really? They're gonna let me join? And Izuku's like, well, you have to take the entrance exam like everyone else. And she's like, oh, really? So like I can join on the event that I can pass all the examinations, correct? And Izuku's like, yeah, definitely. So Izuku then explains to Katsuki that they may have a few UA students that may join them in a few months. For like a couple months, for like 2 months during like their summer break. And this gets Katsuki excited. And and then Katsuki's like, wait, Uncle All Might? Because he was shocked by how quick Melissa moved across the room, and the power she put behind her punch, he kind of created a slight shockwave, and Izuku just kind of tanked it like it was nothing. So Katsuki didn't even process the words Uncle All Might, and he's like, wait, Shield, your All Might is your uncle? And she's like, oh, and she basically slaps Izuku again, slaps Izuku in the back of the head, and Izuku's like, oh crap, I'm sorry, pal. And she's like, and then Katsuki's like, okay, so he's your uncle, you're engaged to her, so that means, wait, Izuku, how long have you known her? And Izuku's like, well, I've known her for almost 9 years, and well, I didn't really meet All Might until about 2 years ago. And Katsuki's freaking out. It's like, do you think All Might's gonna be here? And Izuku kind of grins and he's like, well, that's the thing. All Might's gonna actually be here so we can really let loose, because without him here, without a pro or a licensed pro, we can't really use our abilities to the fullest. At least in the eyes of the law, we can't. The little thing we do at my house is different. And Katsuki's like, oh, well, that's awesome. So, and wait, so that means I'm going to get training from All Might? And Izuku's like, dude, you can't tell anyone this. All Might, he's kind of like me. He doesn't like personal stuff. And this is a personal thing for me. And I kind of asked to meet these two. And Katsuki's like, why? And Izuku's like, well, he's been helping them out, and he saw something in them, and they have some interesting quirks that I kind of want to go over with them. And he's really the only connection I had. And he turns to Melissa. He's like, I'm really sorry I told All Might about us being engaged, and what can I do to make it up to you? And she basically pulls him and kisses him. It's like, it's okay. It's just, I really wanted to be the one to tell him. And so Katsuki kind of like backsteps a little bit, and he's like, "Wow, you two really do like each other." And both Deku and Melissa kind of blush at this, and they're like, and so Katsuki's like, and so Izuku's like, "So what were you guys talking about?" And Melissa's like, "Oh no, nothing too serious. Just how you were a goofy kid." And Katsuki's like, "Yeah, and seems like you're still pretty dense about some things." And Izuku's like, "What do you mean by that?" And Kazuki goes on to say, "Well, you were kind of dense about some things. You really just didn't understand some certain social like normalities." And Izuku's like, "Oh yeah, I'm still kind of like that, and sometimes things slip out, but not important things. Just social things that I don't think are important." Like that as important. And Melissa kind of like says, "Oh, what is that supposed to mean?" And she goes, It's not like that, Mouth. It really isn't. It's just I don't think us being engaged is that big of a secret." And she's like, "Okay, if it's like that, then apology accepted." So Izuku basically spends like the rest of the day like really showing Katsuki the rest of the facilities because he's only seen like the gym. And Katsuki's like, "Whoa, so like you own this place?" And Izuku's like, "Yeah, that's partially why we can use our abilities here. And basically we've registered them as mutation quirks. Like they're always on it. Like we..." And Katsuki flips out about this. He's like, "Wait, so all that power and everything is like, you always have that?" And he's just like, "Yeah, it gets kind of confusing sometimes. But in any case, Kachan, I wanted to speak with you. So we're going to be training over these next couple of months, and I really would like to like test out that serum a little bit more with you. Basically refine it and make it a viable medical product. Something that doesn't have like variable like time limits and stuff. And also, my plan is to help you with your basically getting your bones to like develop denser and like your muscle tissue and skin, because drawbacks to your quirk, right, are like the shock from the explosion and the heat, correct?" And Cox is like, "Yeah, like that's pretty much it." "Okay, so I'm going to help you out with that. And I'm pretty sure All Might can give you some pointers on like being a hero. And also the students that are coming here, they will probably be able to help you realize like what it's going to be like." And Katsuki's like, "Aren't you too worried about it?" And Melissa kind of laughs, and she's like, "Well, don't worry about us. We've already taken college classes, so we're more worried about the hero stuff. So having Uncle All Might here to kind of explain and go over it with us and the two students is really awesome." So this video is coming up on 34 minutes. So that's about all the notes and information I had for this part. I do have some more stuff, but that's for part 4 and the remaining and the full 10 months of trading and the conversation that goes over with Mirio and Sun Eater. So that being said, I will like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.